some people sent me questions. What is your opinion on extension tubes for macro?
Extension tubes for macro is a really fairly inexpensive way to explore getting closer. Unfortunately, extension tubes have some limitations to them. Without getting into the technical hows and whys the optics work, the further you get your lens away from the sensor, the closer you can focus. That's what extension tubes do. They're basically hollow tubes. In fact, if you wanted to, back in the film days of Nikon school, one of the instructors used to hold up a toilet paper tube and actually say, hey, look through this, and put the lens and the body together, and he actually made it work. The problem with extension tubes is they don't focus past their preset. They won't focus to infinity ever, where a macro lens can focus from infinity all the way to close focus and back and forth. So I find extension tubes to be very frustrating when I'm trying to compose a picture that's moving or that's dynamic. And so I prefer macro lenses because it gives me more flexibility. There are times where, like in the B, where I'm basically preset on a tripod, nothing moves, and extension tubes work pretty well there. So
awesome. Let's see, I got another one. This is a good one. Is there anything different about setting up macro shots when you're shooting video?
I'm playing with that right now. The standard video rules override some of the things that you would do in macro. To get the most fluid looking video, you take your frame rate, multiply it by 2, and that is your shutter speed. And a lot of times, most of us will record our video either at 24 or 30 frames a second. So either cinematic looking, so something you see in the movie theaters, or broadcast at 30 frames a second, which means your shutter speed is 1/50th to 1/60th a second, and that's it. Otherwise, it becomes a little jumpy and jerky a little bit in the video. So other than that, you have to play with some. I use a graduate or a variable, not a graduated, but a variable neutral density filter to bring my lights down, so I can use a shutter speed that's appropriate for video when I have my lens opened to where I need it to be for the actual depth field I'm looking for. So yeah, really, really good question. It's one of those things that I am struggling to learn right now. I did one on Sunday that was really kind of cool. I found a stink bug and chased him around with my video for a while on my Z50.
Nice.
So, by the way, stay in front of a stink bug, not the back of the stink bug. So yeah.
We have another question about using flash. Can you just discuss how to use a flash and the settings for it when doing macro photography? What shutter speed and what settings on the flash? So maybe this is pertaining to sync speed and how that all interacts with your macro photography.
That is almost a class by itself. What an amazing question. The short answer is I use TTL through the lens metering with an eye kept on the minimum focusing or working distance of the flash. Flashes, TTL will take the light leaving the flash, bouncing off your subject, coming back through the lens, TTL, and off the sensor. It'll actually adjust it all automatically. If you get your flash too close to your subject, it simply can't turn off fast enough. You overexposure. So you have to really be cognizant of your minimum working range there. There are entire rigs designed to mount on the front of your lens. They're called macro speed lights. Nikon makes a really cool one where it has a ring, and then you clip on multiple flashes around the ring. I'm sure Allen's has that one in stock, or can get it really easily. There's other options where you have like an LED light up there, or you have a small little flash tube. If you're going to get one that mounts in the front of the lens, from experience, I would recommend one that you can turn at least 1/2 of the light off to throw a shadow across the other side of the subject. If you're photographing stamps, you want basically very, very even illumination. Photographing a coin or anything with texture to it, you want 1/2 of the light off so it throws shadows on the far side of the texture. So otherwise, standard flash stuff will work. 60th of a second to 1/25th of a second for handholdability. Aperture will really, again, control the depth of field, work that first, and that flash will figure out the right amount of light needed through TTL. I don't have the patience to do everything manual. I can't do it. So yeah, very, very good question.
Thank you. And we had another question come in on Facebook. Are there any advantages, or are mirrorless cameras better for macro photography in any way?
I would say mirrorless cameras offer the same advantage for macro as they do for everything else. And most people think that's the size and the weight. For me, that's not the factor. I put together my bag. The weight isn't that dramatically different. For me, it's the optical viewfinder, or the optical viewfinder versus electronic viewfinder. Electronic viewfinders on mirrorless cameras let me, when I turn it on properly, I can see not just the composition and the focus, but the depth of field and the color and the saturations and the actual exposure. In fact, on the Nikon cameras, you can actually have your electronic viewfinder color match the monitor at home. So you're able to actually judge your exposure based on the color saturation you're seeing through viewfinder, because that matches the monitor you have at home that's set for your printer. So it takes a couple seconds to set up, but once you do that, it's amazing. And I really like mirrorless cameras for that reason.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you. And this could be a tough one. So if you had to choose just one macro lens for your bag in terms of versatility that you could do lots of different types of macro work, which lens are you choosing?
I'll give you a solid answer with a hedge. How's that? Full frame, 105. Not even close. DX, 85 in a heartbeat. 85. Both lenses are basically the maximum that I like to work with within the two different systems. The 105 is a better piece of glass. It is too big and too heavy for my small cameras. I put on a Z50 or my D7500. It's nose heavy. It becomes uncomfortable to use. It's not my favorite. It works amazingly well. It's just not fun to carry every day. 85 costs about half of that, weighs about half of that, and is really designed to balance better and give just stunning performance out of the DX sensor cameras. So,
and it has VR as well, if I'm not mistaken. So that's
yes, both are VR lenses.
DX users. Perfect. Awesome.
Yeah.
That is all the questions that I see from our end. I want to, on behalf of Allen's, thank you and Nikon again for bringing this presentation. It was very informative, definitely inspiring. Everybody who attended, thank you for doing so. And keep an eye on our various social outlets. We hope to be doing more of these with Nikon moving forward. And really looking forward to speaking with you and seeing all of your work as a result of the inspiration brought to us by Paul. So thank you.
Thank you guys very much. Hey, listen, if you're about to practice, make sure you tag Allen's camera. They'd love to see it. I'd love to see it. If you want to do a social media hashtag, why not start today and do a hashtag backyard macro? And then again, please tag Allen's camera so they can see what you're doing. We'd love to see it.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Paul. Really appreciate it.
Thanks, guys.